Hey guys, I think we're now live. I think this is like take 3. I'm live here with Cat Howell. Give me a like, a comment, just some kind of signal, some sign that you can hear me. So we're hopefully live now on my page. We've had some technical problems. Kat's been having a crazy start to her morning, and it's getting even crazier right now. So if you guys can hear me, I hope you can. We're just going to talk anyway. So this is the Facebook Ads Power Hour. If you guys don't know about this, I get someone on live to talk through something Facebook ads related, and someone I genuinely want to speak to and learn from as well. And I'm really, really excited to have Cat here today. We've already started this chat, so we're going to go through it again. Sorry about that, Cat. And I'm going to kind of find out a bit more about what Cat's up to, some of her background as well, and take your questions as well. So if you are hitting up questions, hit hashtag live with your question if you want it answered right now. Hashtag replay if you're catching the replay, and we'll try and come back and answer those. We are live, and Jill says, hey guys. Hey Jill, thanks for confirming that we are live and direct to you guys. So the Facebook Ads Power Hour, I'm going to be talking through just some questions. So just keep your questions coming through that you have for Kat, and we'll go through those as well. So I was just saying to Kat previously that we live in a bit of a bubble when it comes to Facebook ads, Facebook groups, etc. And I was at a Gary Vee event earlier this week, and I was just talking to people about who I follow when it comes to Facebook ads as well. And I mentioned some of the names, and one of them was Kat's. And I was just shocked that they didn't know who Kat was. Like, there's some names, like, you know, I put you up there with John Loomer, Tim Bird, etc. There's just some names that you just know if you're in Facebook ads. And I'm sure you guys know who Kat is. But actually, we live in a bit of a bubble, and it is quite funny. Like, online, you're like this mini Z-list celebrity person. You go outside, and no one knows who you are. I mean, that's just kind of how we are. But I first actually met Kat at Funnel Hacking Live earlier this year. And actually, if you go back to 12 months ago, I had a list of people I'd love to actually talk to and meet. And Kat was one of them, high up on my list as well. We almost had Candy Floss on a roller coaster ride in Florida, but that never happened. So that's definitely on the bucket list. But thanks, Kat, for making it today, and welcome.
Was that my fault that it never happened?
I can't remember. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that sucks. We should have done that. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a whole group set up. I don't know, like everyone let everyone down. I don't even know what happened.
That's what happens with group travel plans. You're like, hey, let's go travel over here, and there's 20 of you. And then on the actual day, it's just you by yourself, you know,
Absolutely.
Feeling depressed and lonely. Thank you. And thanks for having me. And yeah, it's exciting. It's round 3, right?
Round 3. So tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So I am Cat Howell, and I own an agency here out of Auckland, New Zealand. So we primarily specialize at the moment in high-ticket events. We work mostly with American and Australian clients. And then I also work with a lot of agencies and freelancers. So the reason I think that some people know who I am in the space is probably the thing I'm most notorious for, which is an exceptionally high frequency of my Facebook ads. So it's like you touch my funnel once and you're pretty much fucked. And I do apologize to everyone on this call right now if I'm stalking you online. That is the current situation.
But it works. I mean, this is something which I find quite fascinating, is a lot of people just absolutely focus on the wrong metrics. Like, they're worried about CPM, relevant score, frequency, and stuff like that. But you're doing it because obviously at some level it's working, right?
Yeah, and I will be very, very, very honest with you, Depesh. Like, you know how they say the builder's house is always the worst one on the block? Like, we literally have an ad set that's targeting page fans. And we just rotate the content through, and we shift a shit ton of budget through it. It's actually very lazy marketing, but it's very fucking effective. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
I know what you mean. So like, I run an agency as well, and I've got my own product, which is a training course. And I'm so lazy on it. Like, I can't get my head around it. If it was a client's campaign, I guarantee you I'd be nailing it right now. I have to actually give it to my team because I don't know what it is. You just can't get your mind into doing your own stuff. It's really weird.
It's like your website, right? Most of us have websites, right? Because we're trying to attract clients. And then you know you need to have a good website. You know you need to be posting on your Facebook page to like keep up appearances. And but really when you end up with like to-do lists and all the stuff that you got to get through, and um, a lot of the times like the logos, the website, the content isn't really the stuff that's going to bring in like the immediate revenue, so it falls to the wayside. And yeah, it's a common, I think it happens pretty much in every industry, to be very honest. Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, Rick, Jackie, Geraldine, Holly. Geraldine actually said that it does work. She signed up for Fat C, then Academy after months of seeing your ad. So it's
Fat
usually the
C.
only way out, right?
Fat C. That's my DJ name, DJ Fat C. Yeah.
So
There you
tell us a bit
go.
about the work that you do with the agency itself, and how do you actually get started with Facebook ads and then starting the agency after that?
Oh, this is a deja vu. Yeah. So as I was telling you before, my first company was a company called Yeti. It wasn't even a company. An idea, and it was just horrible branding. No one knew how to spell it. I had no idea what I was doing. I literally thought that you would just create a website and like people would come flooding in. And I'm sure that maybe happened back in like the 90s. That was the case, but it wasn't, it does not how it goes down anymore, right? And this was like 6 years ago or something like that, and it flopped so badly. But what happened because of that company is I was playing around with Facebook ads. I was trying to get traffic to the website and build my audience and emails. I had no idea what I was doing, bombed really badly at all of it. And but because it was like 6 years ago, which was a completely different landscape in terms of Facebook advertising back then, businesses didn't value Facebook advertising. Even like the big brands didn't value it. No one really knew how to do it, and it was kind of like the intern's job. And one of my friends who worked in a big brand noticed that I was talking about Facebook and brought me in to talk to the company. And this was like a huge brand name. And it's hilarious because they hired me as a contractor to help them with their social media. And I was pretty much like learning, but to be fair, so was everyone else. Like no one really knew. And to be fair, I would actually say that everyone now is learning. Like there's no such thing as, because like the reality is Facebook moves so fast. And the one thing that I've come to learn about Facebook through 6 years of working with it is that honestly, there's the best practices, like even the stuff Facebook tells you to do, oftentimes isn't actually what's working. What actually works is often like a bubble that will work for about a month or two because of some algorithm change they're about to roll out or something that's happening. And so like if you're not staying on the pulse of what Facebook is about and what's happening, like you are so redundant. So everyone in a way is new. Everyone is learning. Everyone is like inexperienced with this platform because it moves so fast. It's crazy. Yeah.
Absolutely. I forgot one question. If you had a blue ocean in front of you and you could do
Oh,
absolutely anything you want, what would you actually love to be doing right now?
yeah. So so it's so weird repeating myself. I'm done with my jokes. They're done. My jokes were one time only. No, so yeah, I was, as I was telling you before, I actually had a conversation about this recently with a friend. And I was talking about like if I sold my companies and I sold out and I had like millions and millions of dollars, um, what would I be doing? What would I do? Because I was going through a moment, and I still go through these moments, like to be very honest, where you wake up some days and you're like, why the fuck am I doing this? This is so much stress. Like, whether it's like working with clients or running the online business or creating a physical product, like that business alone has been like migraine after migraine after migraine. But why am I doing this? And then realizing like, yeah, even if I got paid out like millions of dollars, I would go traveling, I would retire for 6 months, sure, but I guarantee, like after 6 months to a year, I would get really bored and I'd need to start creating again. And for me, what gets me in flow is when I'm creating businesses or I'm putting ideas into motion, and different things will get different people into flow. But that's my thing. And so in a way, I'm actually very much doing exactly what I need to be doing. If I wasn't creating the companies, if I wasn't building these ideas and putting them out there, I would be probably a very depressed individual. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I find it fascinating, your story with the agency and like what you went through and seeing so many people. Like honestly, even myself, I honestly I made a big mistake in not taking the training that you guys I spoke to someone on your team last year, and we crashed and burned because we decided not to take the training. We were busy on other projects. Like one of the fascinating things I find is how many people go through this and then kind of have to then fix things afterwards. I mean, how are you finding it with helping other agency owners? Do they come to you early enough, or are they kind of burnt out and then come to you?
No, I would say most of them are burned out because we have this very interesting thing in the entrepreneurial world. So it's not just agencies. I think it's every bit, even with my first company, you try to figure shit out on your own. One, because a lot of us are bootstrapping, right? So we don't have a lot of the money and we think, oh, it sounds easy. Let me figure this out. I'm sure I can Google shit and YouTube some videos, right? And I also think there's like a very weird underwriting theme of like novelty in figuring shit out yourself. Like the hustle, the grind. Like there's almost like we've almost like glorified that in the entrepreneurial world, right? Like I will figure this out on my own. And if I have to ask for help, it's almost like cheating in a way. And I definitely had that. And I think most people have that. And I think those two things combined means that most people will actually try to figure it out on their own, which actually makes no fucking sense. Because if you look at, like, for example, this physical product that my sister and I are launching now I know better because I tried to figure things out for 3 years, didn't work. As soon as I got a mentor, my business has turned around. So the first thing that my sister and I did with this physical product is we've basically built out a board of directors of 3 to 4 people that have launched 8-figure e-commerce brands, and we get on a call with them once a week and we pay them for their time, and we basically have a powwow with them. And we have avoided so many landmines and so many pitfalls because of that. Yeah, we're still like, it's still an intense process for sure, but trying to figure that out on your own when you don't learn this stuff in school is just like, it doesn't even make sense. And I'm not even trying to pitch here. I'm applying this because I know you have services, so it's the same programs. Like it's the same thing for your programs, right? People trying to figure that out on their own on a client's dime, when really, like, they could just learn from you, get great results, increase the retention rate of their clients, reduce churn rates in their agency. Just that one little thing alone will make someone way more profitable in their business than constantly churning through accounts, you know? Yeah. And
How,
the
how,
confidence, yeah. Yeah.
how do you get people to understand that they do need to invest in themselves? Because that's the thing I find is a lot of people go for free advice. They want to make things happen on their own. They'll go to expensive events and things like that, but they don't want to invest in themselves. How do you get people to actually break out of that?
Yeah, so the thing with that is like you have to, probably one of the best advice that I've ever had is from a good mate of mine, Jesse Elder. And he's really good. Like if he gets you on a call, you know you're going to be spending a lot of money with him. Like you're in trouble in a good way, in a good way. And one of the best things is like, what is the number one thing that people care about the most? It's themselves, right? So people care about themselves. And I think one of the biggest problems is we see is like, we're trying to push features and benefits or our brand or ourselves on people, when really the biggest objections people will have is they don't trust themselves. and they don't think it's like, they think their unique situation is like so unique in the world. No one else has experienced their exact situation of having 4 children and a husband that's left and trying to build a business, and like everyone believes that their situation is like different, right? And I know this because you'll tell people like, oh, this is the yeah, but you know, I'm doing you know, I have school at night and I'm doing 3 jobs, and it's like, okay, so you can tell people feel like their unique situation is so different. So the way that you get around that, whether it's working with clients or whatever you're trying to sell, is like you need to clearly identify who your customer is, like who is your audience, get super specific on your customer avatar, and then you need to ask them. Like, you either, if you're on a sales call with them, so if you're talking to a client, just ask and listen. That's literally all you have to do. Just allow people to verbal vomit all of their unique situations, their problems, their desires, their wants. And then it's so simple. All you do, if it's a good fit, like obviously if it's not, don't sell people in, that's not good. But if you can help them, then what you do is you simply tie your solution to exactly what they told you. So you pretty much just listen. You don't say a single thing. You allow people to explain where they're at, and then you tie your solution, and you recap exactly what you want. So that's like sales calls, and the same thing applies with products. If you're selling physical products, get super clear on what their pain points, needs, and wants are. And there's surveys you can do. You can ask existing customers. You can that's a great like retargeting thing as well, right? If people have fallen out of your sequence, like instead of just allowing them to go into an abyss, send them a survey, ask them to fill out like a Google form. It's so simple to fill out. Why didn't you buy from us? What solution were you trying to find? And the language that they're going to give you is exactly what you use in your marketing. Like, that's the most powerful way to make people realize that A, they have a problem, and B, there's a solution, and C, you are the provider for that, because you are speaking exactly to their specific needs and wants. That's how you make people connect the solution to your solution. Yeah.
Love that.
Does
Love
that
that.
make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see the hearts and likes all flashing in. Keep them coming. And also, if you guys have questions, just post them below as well. So coming back to Facebook ads, so you've mentioned kind of keeping on top of it, and it does change so fast. And not only does it change so fast, it messes up big time as well. And we know that 2018 has been an insane year for Facebook ads, and they're still surviving. And I think they'll still grow, but things will change. How do you keep up to date? And what do you think is going to happen in the next 3 months in Q4, essentially?
Yeah. So I personally think though that we've been saying that every year. Like, that's, I feel like, and I think people have been saying that about email, to be fair. Like, I think since the 2000s, people have been going like, oh, email's dead. It's out. Email's still the biggest marketing channel. Like, there's nothing that compares to email, you know? So I feel like we say that a lot. I don't think Facebook's going anywhere anytime soon. If it weathered Cambridge Analytica, and actually like did even better because as a result of that with its stock, then I think it's here for a while. In terms of like how I stay across Facebook, I'm very lucky because I have quite a few Facebook groups. So through teaching, I actually am. I've come to realize, I realized this pretty fast after setting up the programs, that when you have to teach people stuff, it forces you to know your shit, because you'll have someone, even like someone who's just getting started out, and they'll ask like the most basic, simple beginner question. And you're like, oh shit, actually, I don't know. Can you do this? And you have to go in the ad account and business manager and double check. And like, so I would say like teaching is one of the most powerful ways to actually know your shit and become really good at it. So an idea for all of you guys, is everyone here like a Facebook marketer agency or freelancer, or are they mostly working for companies?
Good question. Hit us in the comments. Let us know.
So like what I was gonna like a piece of advice, like for those of you that don't know, like FATC, which you kind of mentioned before, is a Facebook advertising support group. So my team helps fix your campaigns basically. But we also do training in there. And the reason I launched that program was because I wanted to train staff for my agency in the processes of my agency. And I'm like high-fiving myself because that was a fucking brilliant idea. Because now all of a sudden, I'm getting people to pay me so that they can learn my agency processes with Facebook ads so that I can then keep an eye on the good ones or the ones that are doing really well in there. And we can handpick them as contractors. I share them out to other agencies. We hire them internally. And so it's like this brilliant business thing that I did not expect. But where I was going at with this is all of you guys that are either where regardless of where you're at, but especially if you're freelancing or you have an agency, like create a Facebook group, okay, of in the niche that you're doing. And any leads that you have that cannot afford your services right now or that are possibly a good fit for you, invite them to your group and start nurturing them and start teaching them. And you can then from there, like when you have time down the track, you would have established authority with a group of people that you can then sell programs to. I think this is very much like how you and I, Depesh, got started in the online business space. So you don't have to do anything now, but start nurturing them. But what it will do in the meantime is it will force you to like stay across. People are going to ask you stay across what you're doing. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we've got a mix of freelancers and ecom guys on the call right now, on the live call right now, which is quite interesting because I think, when it comes to Facebook ads, and Gary Vee actually put this quite well, that until you've actually run your own ads and you've experienced the pain and the pleasure, because you get them in equal amounts, like things go wrong quite a lot. Even for me, even for you, they'll go wrong. They'll go as you don't expect them to go. But when things go well, like those numbers go crazy as well. And I think you do have to have that hands-on experience. So like, for example, you'll get a marketing director who's running a Facebook ads team. They have no idea how it runs, and maybe they don't want to know, and that's fine. But I think if you want to get started with Facebook ads, like I spoke to someone recently, and they've launched a business. They wanted to do ads, but they didn't want to get their hands dirty. They went through a few freelancers, and they never got it working because they didn't really know what they wanted, and so they didn't know what to kind of ask for of the freelancer as well. But my thing would be just give it a go, because actually it's not hard to A, get started with Facebook ads, and B, you can make money with it. You don't need a ton of experience. Where the experience comes in is when you actually want to do something bigger with it as well, I think.
Oh, it is the most interesting abusive relationship to be a Facebook marketer, because Facebook will abuse the shit out of you. It will kick you to the ground some days and you
Absolutely.
will want to cry. And yet on the other side of this, you are learning a skill that literally gives you the keys to unlock the kingdom. If you know how to drive traffic, my friend, you can pretty much create any business that you so desire out there, right?
Absolutely.
And the beauty of like whether you're in e-com or freelancing or working for clients is like, especially those of you working on clients, you're learning this skill on someone else's dime. It's ingenious. So that when you want to launch your own company or your own brand or your own product, you're going to be unstoppable.
So
Like you're
true.
literally picking up like one of the most powerful skills on this planet. If you are a business and you don't know how to drive traffic, you don't have a business. Like you just have a promotion pretty much. So it is a very interesting relationship to be a Facebook marketer with Facebook. Yeah. It's a beautiful,
Absolutely.
evil thing. Yeah.
It is, I know. Slightly different track. What's been your kind of proudest achievement of what you've done so far, I guess?
I mean, okay, like obviously I love my kids, so I'll just put that out there first. In
Absolutely.
terms of the business side, I gotta say, like, the thing that I'm most proud of is probably me being able to control, this is gonna sound so woohoo, but control my thoughts and my emotional refractory period, because it took me so much work to do that. Like, and it's still a work in progress, very much so. But that, like, that is what triggered the success. That's like my success would not exist if I did not get a grasp on my thoughts, my self-sabotaging beliefs, my ideas of unworthiness, my ideas around like how you have to hit rock bottom before you can be successful, or you have to yo-yo, or you have to hustle and grind, and all of these, like, money is never going to happen to you, all of these things that were so entrenched in me from such a young age, that I really, like, as I knew I had that issue when, you know, you're trying to build your business, and you're doing everything, like, and you're working so hard in 80-hour work weeks, and yet it feels like you're not getting anywhere. And then someone else, one of your peers, tells you how they've just made, you know, $100,000, and you, instead of feeling like super excited and you want to, you feel like deflated and exhausted and you want to give up. And that, a lot of that stems from like those ideas that you have in your head. So overcoming that was like extremely, it was a lot of work. And that's the thing I'm most proud of, is like now when I have back then, if a client emailed me something nasty, it would take me like a week to bounce back, sometimes a month. Now I bounce back within like 10 minutes, which I'm so proud of. Like, it's very hard to get me rattled. Yeah.
And I've loved reading the stuff on mindset that you've been sharing, and not just writing, but also the videos as well. Like, you can see it is coming right from within when you're kind of sharing your successes, your failures, your challenges and stuff. How did you actually overcome it? Was it like you have coaching, or did you read? Did you listen? How did you overcome that?
It was a coach initially because I didn't believe in that stuff. I was like, I grew up like a very conservative family, like be a doctor. I wasn't a doctor. I became a stripper, which is like, hey, dad,
Slightly different.
went off the rails, but like very like atheist family, and very much of the idea, like mindset, mind over body. Okay, go smoke a joint, you hippie. Go put your tie-dye shirt on. And it took me to invest. I invested $10,000 in a mentor, and I didn't know that he was into this kind of stuff. And I had no more money. I was literally like against a wall. Like, this mentor was my last go. And so I actually did what he was telling me. And I started to, like, at first it was like a vision board, and he would have me write my goals every day. And then like, some of the things on my board started like, it just came true. And I was like, okay, like, there's something here. Let's try this again. And I would do it again. And then did it enough times to really realize, like, how it works. I don't know how it works, but there's definitely something to this. Like, there's definitely a mind-body connection. Like, you can have a very big impact on your health and your well-being through your thoughts. And then B, your thoughts and your emotions also, how, I don't know, but they also have an impact on the reality that you're perceiving right now. And so I do it mostly through meditation, reviewing my goals every day, intentionalizing. In the beginning, I had to do a lot of that stuff, yeah, because you just, yeah, the muscle is not as built, but it's a muscle. And it's so funny because now I look at it and I'm laughing and I'm like, how did I not even realize this? Like, if you want to get fit, you want to get in shape, you go to the gym. You know, if you want to get good at Facebook ads, you go in a Facebook ad account and you start practicing. It's the same thing with your mind. And yet we're not taught this stuff from a young age. I think kids are getting it now in school. Like, schools are starting to roll out like quantum physics and conscientiousness and meditation, but we never learn this stuff, that like, hey, your mind is a muscle as well. And if you want to control your thoughts, you just got to exercise it just like you would any other thing. Yeah,
So
practice.
true. It's so true. If you guys have any questions, just post them below. What's some of the cool stuff that you're working on right now? So you mentioned the products, and I know what you're working on. I've worked on some similar products as well. What are you kind of doing over the next 3 to 6 months?
Wait, what did you worked on some vagina sprays?
Not quite sprays, but other things related to that, yes. There's a company in the UK called Ann Summers, which is an
Uh,
adult toy store. And yes, that was good fun.
oh, Depesh has the perks. We want discount coupons. Everyone gets dildos from Depesh for Christmas.
That was pretty much it, yeah. When I used to tell people I worked there, they were like, You doing modeling? I said, no, 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 I'm doing the marketing.
That's amazing. Yeah. Sorry, what was the question?
So what are you doing over the next kind of 3 to 6 months? What are the big things that you're working on?
Oh, okay. So this is working so well for us. So for those of you in e-commerce, do this. Okay. Okay. So this product, my sister and I are creating as a physical brand, a product, and it's an organic female refresher story. Blah blah blah. Anyways, we're having a lot of problems with the packaging and the formulation, so that has been holding everything up. And then in terms of the marketing, it's also very uncharted territory for me because we've been labeled as pornographic, unfortunately. So uh, I don't know that I can rely on Facebook advertising as our main channel, which makes me very sad because that's like my zone of genius. But here's what we did, and this works so well. It's crazy. So we created a Facebook group. I love groups, by the way. I love them because Facebook is like organically pushing that stuff now, right? So when you log into Facebook, it's got like on the right hand side suggested groups, and it's doing that because it's trying to create more real estate for advertisers, right? It's running
Yeah,
out of advertising space. So Facebook is seeing groups as like it's key to like more engagement, pulling people in, increased retention of eyeballs every day, and more advertising real estate. And so if you get enough people joining a group with and you get that traction going and you have the right engagement, Facebook will actually promote your group for you. Facebook ad don't promote that at all. That's all organic Facebook pushing it. So we created a group called the Pleasury for women for this product. And in it we just share stories of love, sex, erotica, all of this stuff. And so we have a Facebook ad running to the group. We use Bitly. We mask the URL and we just run a Facebook ad to the group. And then what we have is we've installed a plugin called Group Funnels. I think it's created by Arne
Yes,
Gist.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So he created the software. It's a bit of a prick to install, to be honest, but it's such a time saver.
it
So
is.
then we have a question. We have one question. So when you know how you can ask questions when people join the group. So we have one question that says, "What's the best email address to send you freebies, stories of pleasure, and promotions?" I think that's how we phrase it. I can share a screenshot of exactly how we phrase it after because we split test that question quite a bit, and they give us their email, and then we use this plugin called Group Funnels, and it automatically puts everyone into our CRM system. We are getting emails and group members for about 87 cents. It's
No,
fucking ridiculous, like double
absolutely.
barreled, because now not only do we have them on and guess what, here's the craziest thing, 87% of people are giving us their email.
That's not
Isn't
bad.
that
That's not
insane?
bad at all.
That's insane,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah. So we're getting these emails on our email list. And not only that, they're getting put into our group where like Facebook groups are so good at nurturing because it's got that
Absolutely.
social proof, the peer pressure, the two-way conversation. So that's our strategy for that brand is like aggressively building our audience. And then we're also going to be doing podcasting. So this is kind of a strategy from Russell Brunson where you list out, or no, it's Chet something. But Russell took it from Chet. But you list out your dream 100
Mm.
influencers, podcasters, bloggers, blah blah
Yeah.
blah, and then you basically invite them on a podcast to build that relationship. So influencer marketing is going to be important for us. But that's kind of, I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent there. Was that
No,
what
no,
you
I
were
mean,
asking?
that's actually a really gold strategy for anyone that can't get proper traction with ads, whether you're selling the kind of products you are, or whether you're doing crypto or anything like that. There's different ways to bypass ads and to actually build your list essentially as well.
I think especially with physical products, it's super important to remember that because I think you work with e-commerce, right?
That's
We
right.
worked with e-commerce for a while, and a lot of e-commerce businesses, especially with like people teaching drop shipping out there, they think that you just put a product on a website and then you'll sell it, right? And they don't realize like the branding behind what you're doing actually has a huge impact, and the audiences that you build. And I was listening to Ezra Firestone last month, and he was actually saying they don't mind losing money acquiring the customer
Yeah.
because they know that 60% of their sale or 40% of their sales come from repeat customers, or it might have been 60. And so when you're in the e-commerce space, really it's the second year when you start to get the traction. And what he noticed, he audits and he works with huge e-commerce accounts. He helps audit them for companies looking to buy in or buy those companies. And what he was saying was he started to notice something with all of the 8-figure e-commerce businesses and the brands out there. There was one thing that was in common, and what that was that all of them were doing marketing, Facebook, Google, YouTube, all of this stuff, but all of them only had one profitable channel, just one on the front end that was profitable. So that had immediate ROI. And that one marketing channel, whether it was YouTube or Facebook, was basically funding all of the other marketing channels. And
Absolutely.
the businesses didn't mind that. They didn't mind that because they knew in year 2 that would come and pay out tenfold, basically. And I feel like what we come across, you and I, Depesh, and other marketers here, is like this very wanting it now, right? If there's not a 4 or 5 times ROA on ads, it's not
Absolutely.
working. And
So
then
true.
what Ezra was saying is like, that's the biggest mistake you can make. Find one that gets you a positive return and then use that one to fund all your other marketing channels. But they don't have to be profitable. In fact, all of the big 8-figure businesses only have one profitable marketing channel. Yeah.
So
Which I
true.
found fascinating. Yeah.
Absolutely. Have you done any work with influencers at all?
No. So
Okay.
I'm kind of like, I'd love advice actually. And I'm kind of in uncharted territories with that as well. I mean, I've done branded content stuff, I've set that up for clients, but we weren't the one reaching out to, like, those relationships were already there, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the four things that Gary Vee was talking about was Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, and influencers. So they're the four things that VaynerMedia are focusing on, and influencers in particular. If you know how to craft it, there's so much there, that's something which I want to look at a bit more as well, because I think it is a bit of a wild west. But I think if you can find the right people and kind of work your way up to the right influencers, it can be quite huge as well, especially to complement your kind of mentor.
Yeah. So one of the people that's advising us right now gave us really good piece of advice and said to us, especially now with Instagram, how you can just tag the products in, and it links directly, right?
Yeah.
And so what they were saying is like you just set them up as affiliates, so they get a 30 to 40% cut, which
No.
is pretty much what you would have paid anyways on traffic to acquire a
Yeah.
customer. So you give them a 40% cut and you give them a link. And now with Instagram, it's super easy for them to use that because they don't have to deal with stupid coupons that people don't even use
Mm.
anyways. And what it means is like right off the bat, now you'll, instead of like, because you never know who's got real followers or fake ones, right? And it can be really hard to assess, like, is it the right audience? Isn't the right audience? But if you turn them into affiliates, like, it does, there's no risk to you. You're not paying
Absolutely.
them until they sell it. And so if they don't trust their audience, they're not going to take you up on that, right? But if they know
Absolutely.
their audience and they know it's the right product, they'll be like, hell yeah, I'm going to make 40%. Like, that's a great deal. Yeah.
That's true. Megan Winter says that's gold. It absolutely is
Oh,
gold.
Megan, hi. Yeah.
Um, in terms of kind of your focus on learning and kind of sharing, because like one of the things you do as an influencer is you want to share lots of stuff as well. How do you actually make the time for the learning side of what you do as well?
I spend an hour every single day going through questions and the groups that we manage, and every week I do an update, like a weekly Facebook ad update to the private communities that we have. And so I think it's because of that, like I'm almost hitting two stones with in one go. I'm exposed to like what people are seeing. So people will come in and go, hey, there's a bug happening, or have you noticed this is working really well right now, or like people will share this, so it exposes me to that. And then I also run a lot of ads as well. So I'm constantly in Facebook as well, Facebook ad accounts. So I think those two things allows me to stay across it. I'll be very honest with you. I do think it's like almost a full-time job just to like actually stay across it. So
So
there's
true.
definitely parts of me that is like, shit, there's so much more I could still learn and know about. Yeah. Yeah.
Which part of Facebook ads do you enjoy? Because like there's so many things to it. Like for example, I absolutely hate anything to do with Ads Manager. If I could never touch Ads Manager, I'd be happy. But what's one thing that you kind of really enjoy about the whole Facebook ads side of things?
Oh, I think the one thing that gives me like a little OCD pleasure is I like the data. Like I
Okay.
love breaking down my reporting columns and the data, and like I don't know, there's something like very like OCD satisfying to that to me. It's like identifying the bottlenecks. Like it feels like I'm a little investigator, you know, on a little case trying to figure out why it doesn't, or what's happening, or how can I optimize that. So for me, like the data part of Facebook really excites me. Like I like looking at that and then finding out like, oh, it's your add to cart that's like blowing everything
Yeah,
up, or it's this part that's like going off the rails, you know? Yeah.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
FATSD stands for Facebook ads, traffic, and conversion, right?
Facebook ads that convert.
That convert. Ah, okay.
Close. But that's
Close.
okay. We just made that word up like one day and yeah, ran
But
with it.
I knew there's convert in there somewhere because, like, when I speak to people, they don't quite connect the whole piece of like getting the ad, driving traffic, and then actually converting it as well. Like, I see so many people that just focus on getting traffic. I've seen it so many times where, someone's complaining that Facebook's not working. They're running a traffic campaign. They're getting super cheap cost per click, but no one's buying, and they just don't get it. And I can't get my head around the fact that they're not looking at that full purchase journey as well.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we recognize because we were only really like doing the Facebook advertising side of things. And then it became very apparent that, like, oh, actually, like, if you have a shitty website, if you have a shitty Shopify store, it really doesn't matter how good your Facebook ad campaign is. Like,
Absolutely.
it's not going to work for you. If you have a shitty funnel, doesn't matter. And in fact, it could hurt you if Facebook doesn't like your funnel.
That's
Like
right.
they'll penalize you and disable all your ads and your ad accounts. So it is a holistic picture. It's not just, and I think that's like for those of you working with clients, it's so important to know that. I think most people on here would know this already, but auditing your clients and the whole picture is so important because if you could be the best Facebook advertiser on the planet, but as we mentioned, like if the website or if there's any issues happening with the user experience along the way, it's not going to work. And then who are they going to blame? They're going to blame
Absolutely.
you. You're going to get the blame. And if you don't know how to spot that, you're going to think it's your fault and you're going to think you're a shitty Facebook marketer, and that's going to impact your confidence, and then you're going to have problems selling more people into your agency, and it's like this whole vicious cycle you get in because you didn't audit your clients or your leads properly to begin with. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that was one of my biggest frustrations when I started the agency. So actually before agency, I was doing contracting. So I was working in-house, working on one client at a time, and you kind of own the full funnel. And that was the biggest difference working in agency land, which was exactly that. I was good at Facebook ads, but then, if the site's loading slow or they've messed up the pixels or their product page is badly designed or whatever it is, it feels like your hands are behind your back. How do you deal with that? Because even if you've got a good client, sometimes they mess up as well.
Yeah, so we try to control the entire funnel if we can. So in the like in the event space, we're really lucky because we build the whole funnel. It's like there's nothing that gets sent to their website.
Yeah,
Everything is built by us. So in that sense, it's like we're really lucky. But yeah, for sure, if you're dealing with e-commerce or things like that, all it takes is like they change their payment processor one day and don't even tell you about it a lot of the times, and then
right.
your everything starts tanking, and so you have to like start digging and finding out. I think the only thing you can really do with that kind of situation is just protecting yourself, like making it very clear in your contracts of like client responsibilities. Like this is what the client is responsible. All the information you've provided is accurate. And if your payment method keeps bouncing, if you've gone and changed things, like the agency cannot take responsibility for results that are therefore impacted because of things that are outside of our control, basically.
So
Yeah.
cool. Got a question here from Jill. I don't know if you can you see the question in front of you?
Do I need to be a rocket scientist to data mine all the available stats in Ads Manager? Yeah, you should be a rocket scientist. Go to the No, but I would say that okay, listen, I would say that what I realize is that some people have an analytical mind that can analyze data that way, and some people don't. Some people are good at maths and some people are not. I suck at maths. I will need to pull out my calculator to multiply 5 by 7. Like, that's how shitty I am at math. But I somehow have a brain for data, for analyzing data. Can it be taught? Yes, just like maths. Um, and so I would say like you would probably know if you have that mind, like if you have the kind of analytical mind, if you are in Ads Manager and you're looking at the numbers and you have like you're aware of industry averages and stats of where things need to be converting at, and if you're looking at things and it makes sense to you, then you probably have one of those minds. If you don't, then you probably just need to practice a bit more and immerse yourself a little bit more. Or if it's not something that interests you, like I'm not interested in doing my accounting, for example, I'm not interested in learning math, you outsource. You find someone that is good at that and you
I
just
saw
pay
your
someone to do it.
I saw your post on outsourcing homework. That was quite an
Is
interesting.
it smart or is it cheating? Is outsourcing homework smart or cheating? Let me
So I
ask
guess
you.
it depends. Like, are you talking about child's homework or business owners?
University. Let's say you're at uni. You're studying business at university and you outsource your homework. Is it smart or cheating?
I think it's a bit of both. It depends what you want out of it. Like, if you're honestly, if you want to be a doctor and you're outsourcing it, then I'm going to worry because I don't want someone operating on me that's outsourced their education.
Yeah.
But if you're doing business management and you're using your brain and you're delegating and you're kind of doing stuff, you're doing more with your time, then I think that's kind of interesting. So I don't know what the right answer is.
Right. I mean, I feel like if my child, like when my kids grow up, I feel like if I told them, go and clean your room, and then one of them went and like paid,
Oh, absolutely.
paid someone like $15 to clean their room,
Yeah,
I feel like I would be so proud of my child. I would be like,
absolutely.
did you just honestly do that? That's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Got a question from Maninda. What makes a website viable for Facebook ad success?
Surely can't be one thing. What makes a website viable for Facebook ads? So if we're talking about like, well, okay, so I think there's so many things. It's not one thing, but I think one of the big things that we notice a lot is like people, for example, first of all, love their freaking logos way too much. So they'll have like massive freaking logos, as I don't know if you guys can see that, like on the header, of the website, which takes up like pretty much half of the fold, especially when you're on mobile. It's like people don't actually care that much about your logo, right? So uh, people's headers are oftentimes like you got to remember, like, you want to have your calls to action or your information like above the fold, right, on desktop and mobile. And so if you're taking up too much real estate with your header with like fluffy stuff that isn't actually calls to action or easy to navigate stuff that is important to the buyer journey, then you're probably going to lose conversions. And then I think the second part of that is like people get really funny with the designs, like the aesthetics of it and their branding, and so they'll have like call to action buttons that are like light purple or light green or gray, and it's like it doesn't stand out at all. And they have background images, and it's like I would say, like, if you're launching a brand new product or a brand new offer, the safest thing to do is to like pretty much statistically, it has been proven that like white background, black text bold, bright CTA will always like work pretty well, you know? And in fact, it doesn't necessarily out convert the pretty stuff, but to start with the pretty stuff before you've even figured out if you can sell it is like a big mistake, because then you don't know, is it like because I have all these fucking images on the background, or because people's eyes are wandering? So there's like whole science to that, right? How people's eyes flow down a page, and if you have an image here and here and here, it breaks the conversion process, and you should have all your images stacked like this instead. So there's a lot of things that hinder and help the conversion process, but I think those are probably the two biggest things. Is like people get too fluffy and aesthetically picky about their funnels, their landers. They're like, if you look at my funnels, they're ugly. I don't even have a logo yet, and it's been like 2.5 years and I don't even have a logo, and yet they convert. So people focus on the wrong things. Just get a landing page up, bright call to action, make it very clean so people don't get distracted, and user friendly. Yeah, I think that's
Cool. How are you doing for time? Because I know we're slightly over our 1 hour.
yeah. I'm okay. I'm okay.
Cool. I've just got another question on disabled accounts. I don't know how much you've kind of come across policy issues and stuff, but literally since the start of 2018, it's got really, really bad for disapprovals at the ad level, account level, business manager level, profile levels. What's been your experience with it? So there's a question here from Supriya. I don't know if you can see that one.
Due to payment, so they didn't like your payment method.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a
Yeah.
strange one.
Well, they've been like, there's been a lot of ad account shutdowns. Like they're getting super strict on that right now. And in fact, like even inactive ad accounts. So one of the strategies as an agency was like, create your business manager, create like 200 ad accounts just in case you, because nowadays, if you have a disabled ad account, you can't even create a new ad account in that business manager. And so like the strategy was like, just create a whole bunch of ad accounts and then you have backups. Well, now Facebook is actually shutting down inactive ad accounts that haven't had any spend in them for the last 60 days. So like if you do that, you have to put some spend through them, like even if it's like a little bit of like $5 or whatever. But yeah, we've been noticing two things happening prolifically recently. One is spend. There's a spend with custom audiences, especially video retargeting. Like there's definitely an issue happening with Facebook's algorithm right now that has been across a lot of ad accounts. It's just not spending properly, and especially retargeting and custom audiences. And if I suspect that has something to do with the whole, since what was it, like April, May or something, the whole Cambridge thing that went down, and data and privacy. And then the second thing we're seeing is they're getting really fast at disabling accounts. What I would say to that though is a lot of it is a bot. So it's a bot that's like getting triggered and it's just shutting things down. And so just because you've had something disabled, if you feel like it was unjust, or if you feel like you followed policy, so that's the first thing. I'd like to get it back for sure. And there's I don't know if you guys know, like Dan Henry, he has like this thing out there that called like Get My Account Back or something like that, and he gives you like the copy to send to Facebook. And I've seen people use it and it works really well to get accounts back. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the main thing there is persistence, because what happens is every time you submit a manual review, it goes to a different person. And I think you just have to sometimes persist, and sometimes you get lucky, sometimes they'll escalate it as well. So I think persistence is a big part of it as well.
Yeah, you just got to keep going. Yeah.
It's like your ads.
It's like seven or eight.
It's like your ads in the newsfeed.
Right?
Just keep on hitting people, and then they've got no choice.
Yeah, sometimes we've had to like do it 7 or 8 times before we actually like get the ad approved again, Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to wrap up. So we've been online for over an hour now. Really appreciate your patience, Kat. I know it was a bit of a crazy start. Anything to say before we sign off to everyone? Anything you want to share as well?
No, well, thank you for having me, by the way. Sorry, I'm
Oh,
trying to like
pleasure.
figure out why my face is like ET right now. Um, so no, thank you for having me. And yeah, I'm sorry about my side of things, juggling things. No, I would say like you guys are listen. Um, Depesh is like a smart motherfucker, right? And so the fact that you guys are like on this live and following him, I think that's like says volumes about everyone, your audience, right? They're people that want to upskill and learn more. And I think that's like great. Like that is right away that puts you like in the top like 5-10% of Facebook marketers out there. Just the fact that you are like up leveling and consuming things to like help you become better at what you do. Most people don't even bother doing that. So keep doing that. Just keep immersing yourself in the industry. Protect your mindset. That was huge for
Absolutely.
me. And yeah, keep getting experience and just go in the ad accounts and realize that we all have good days. We all have bad days with ad accounts. We're all very much on a learning curve with Facebook all the time. That's it, I
Absolutely.
guess. Yeah.
And thanks for being an inspiration, not just to me, but for how many people in ad hacks now? Like 70,000 people. That's insane. But that's just like completely rocketed.
Yeah, not all of them are fans though. I
Oh,
get
okay.
a lot of like, get to the point, bitch, when I talk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
But
well, thank you.
but
Yeah.
you haven't made it until you got haters, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
what they
guess so.
say.
Yeah. They're definitely a reminder that you're making ripples in the world. That's how I see people like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, how do
Yeah.
people follow you? How do they connect with you? What's the best way for them to keep up?
Yeah, probably ad hacks. Facebook ad hacks is the Facebook group. That's probably the best way. Yeah.
Cool. So,
Otherwise, if you're a woman, come and join us in the pleasury.
there you go.
Go.
Awesome.
Sorry, Depeche. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kat. It's been a real big pleasure. Looking forward to meeting you in person next year as well. That's going to be absolutely amazing. If you guys, I don't know, do you have any places left for Fiji? Is that still an option for people?
We're pretty much like only we're pretty. You have to be in the academy or the mastermind, basically.
Cool.
Yeah,
Well, then you
yeah.
need to get into
We're
the
trying to keep it like
academy and
intimate
get to
and
Fiji.
yeah, it's gonna be fun. Fiji, what? I'm excited. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kat. Thank you guys for being on the live as well. Kat, have an amazing day, and we will see you online.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone. See you
you.
guys.
Cheers.
Bye.